Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to talk about chemical happiness and the meaning of life. The essay written by Yuval Noah Harari. The fourth chapter in the fourth module of the text entitled Zeitgeist, Readings on Society and Culture of Common Course A04 of English to be transacted in the second semester UG program. Before entering into the chapter, let's have a talk on Yuval Noah Harari, the Israeli historian. He was born on 24th February 1976 in Kiryat Ata, Israel. By profession, he is a historian and a professor in the Department of History at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. He has authored many books and articles, and his famous works include the popular science bestsellers Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, which was published in 2011 in Hebrew. The English version of Sapiens was published in 2014. The next work, Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow, which was published in English in 2016, and 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, which was published in English in 2018. His writings examine free will, consciousness, intelligence, and happiness. Harari grew up in a secular Jewish family. The term secular has a different meaning in India. A person who believes in a religion and approaches all other religions and their followers with respect and tolerance is considered as a secular person in India. But outside India, the term secular means absence of religious faith. It is almost equal to atheism. So, while talking about Yuval Noah Harari, he was born and brought up in a secular family, means he was an atheist. Harari is a gay, and in 2002 he met his husband Itzik Yahav, who later became his personal manager. Harari is an ardent supporter of Vipassana Yoga also, which he began whilst in Oxford in 2000. He practices it for 2 hours every day. Now, while talking about the academic career of Harari, Harari first specialized in medieval history and military history in his studies from 1993 to 1998 at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. He completed his PhD degree at Jesus College, Oxford in 2002 under the supervision of Stephen J. Gunn. From 2003 to 2005, he pursued postdoctoral studies in history as a Yad Hanadi Fellow. He now specializes in world history and macro-historical processes. Now coming into the views and opinions of Harari. Harari is interested in how Homo sapiens reached their current condition and in their future. His research focuses on macro-historical questions such as what is the relation between history and biology, what is the essential difference between Homo sapiens and other animals, is there justice in history, does history have a direction, did people become happier as history unfolded. Now, let's talk on his book Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, which made him famous. The book was originally published in Hebrew in 2011 based on the 20 lectures of an undergraduate world history class he was teaching. It was then released in English in 2014 and has since been translated into some 45 additional languages. The book analyzes human history from the evolution of Homo sapiens in the Stone Age up to the political and technological revolutions of the 21st century. The book was a bestseller and also generated lots of controversies and criticisms. Anthropologist Christopher Robert Hallpike reviewed the book and did not find any serious contribution to knowledge. Now, coming into the awards and recognitions Harari received. Harari twice won the Polanski Prize for Creativity and Originality in 2009 and 2012. In 2011, he won the Society for Military History's Moncado Award for the outstanding articles in military history. In 2012, he was elected to the Young Israeli Academy of Sciences. In 2017, Homo Deus won Handelsblatt's German Economic Book Award for the most thoughtful and influential economic book of the year. During the COVID-19 pandemic, following President Trump's cut to WHO funding, Harari announced that he and his husband would donate $1 million to the WHO through Sapienship, that is their social impact company. Now, let's have a brief discussion on the chapter Chemical Happiness and the Meaning of Life. A detailed discussion on the chapter will be done in the next episode. In this chapter, Harari is actually making a discourse on the meaning of life. According to him, happiness is the result of chemical processes taking place in human brain. So this argument is in contradictory with the traditional spiritual perception of happiness. Harari begins the essay by differentiating the approaches of social scientists and biologists towards subjective well-being of human beings. Social scientists, in his opinion, correlate the subjective well-being of human beings with socio-economic factors such as wealth and political freedom. But biologists correlate the emotional world with biochemical mechanisms. According to biologists, the mental and emotional world of human beings are governed by biochemical mechanisms which are shaped by millions of years of human evolution. So just like all other mental states, our subjective well-being is not determined by external parameters such as salary, social relations, or political rights. Let's make it a bit more simple. Let's look at the way social scientists approach subjective well-being of human beings. Not only social scientists, normally all people believe that our happiness is very much connected with the external factors like salary, social relations, or political freedom, like that. For example, we believe that if we are having a good family relation, we will be happy or happier. Or if we have a good job, we will be happy. Or if we have a good government and we are enjoying all kinds of political freedom, we or our society will be more happy. Harari is actually contradicting this general opinion or this kind of correlating our happiness, our internal happiness with these kinds of external parameters. According to Harari, the happiness of human mind is not determined by our external society or our surroundings. So, what determines the happiness of human beings? According to Harari, it is determined by a complex system of nerves, neurons, synapses, and various biochemical substances such as serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin. Through this essay, Harari argues that the mental and emotional world of human beings are not controlled by external factors but the internal biochemical mechanisms. Human happiness is the result of various hormones flowing through our bloodstreams and the storm of electric signals flashing between different parts of our brain. Is it possible for hormones to make us happy? Actually, the feelings we experience are chemical reactions taking place inside our body. Each and every emotion we experience is the result of the release of certain hormones inside our body. Some hormones make us feel good and some hormones make us feel bad. So, which are the hormones that make us happy? There are three major hormones which control human happiness. They are serotonin, oxytocin, and dopamine. Let's discuss in detail about these hormones. First of all, serotonin. Serotonin is sometimes called as the happiness hormone. Serotonin regulates the mood, prevents depression, and makes you feel happy. Serotonin can be released by getting exposed to sunlight, by eating foods rich in carbohydrates, and by exercising. People with lower serotonin levels often suffer from depression. Dopamine. Dopamine helps you feel mentally alert. It is an organic chemical that helps to control the brain's reward and pleasure centers. Lack of serotonin causes lack of attention, lack of concentration, and bad moods. Dopamine can be released by eating foods that are rich in protein. Oxytocin. Oxytocin is often called the love hormone. It is released in large amounts during sexual intercourse and childbirth. It is also released during other types of affectionate physical contact. Oxytocin plays a major role in social bonding and sexual reproduction. So, Harari says that a person who won the lottery and jumps in joy is not reacting to the lottery but to the pleasant sensation in his body caused by the hormone dopamine, which helps to control brain's reward and pleasure centers. A person who found new love and is extremely happy is not reacting to the lover but to the electric signals flashing between different parts of his brain caused by the hormone oxytocin. Our internal biochemical system is programmed to keep happiness levels relatively constant, which varies from person to person. That's why some people always appear pleasant and some others have a gloomy face most of the time. Hormones, nerves, neurons, and synapses enable us to enjoy a momentary rush of pleasant sensations. But these never last forever. Sooner or later, the pleasant sensations subside and we reach into our constant level of happiness or gloominess. According to Harari, the hormones which generate pleasant sensations in human body have played a significant role in human evolution because hormones encourage or discourage survival and reproduction. The pleasant sensations caused by oxytocin in human body tempt fertile males and females to spread their genes through sex. If sex were not accompanied by such pleasure, nobody would get attracted to the opposite sex and nobody would engage in sexual intercourse. On the other hand, it is equally important that the pleasure caused by oxytocin is quickly subsided. If the pleasure doesn't come to an end, what would happen? The happy couples would remain in their sexual intercourse till they die of hunger. Harari compares human happiness conditioning system to an air conditioning system. And this human air conditioning system or the human happiness conditioning system differs from person to person. If we measure human biochemistry with a 10-point scale, we can find that different people have different set points as their constant happiness levels. A person with a cheerful biochemical system will be having his constant happiness level set at level 8. His mood sinks to level 6 when he is unhappy, but soon reaches back into level 8. He can feel the extreme level of happiness when his happiness hormones cause pleasant sensations in his body, swinging his mood to level 10. A person born with a gloomy biochemistry will be having his constant happiness level set at level 5, which swings between level 3 to level 7 according to the changes in his bodily sensations. He will never feel the extreme happiness even if he is the luckiest living person in the world. When we look into our family or friends, we can find some people who are always pleasant no matter what troubles or hardships they are going through. We can also find some other people who always wear a gloomy face no matter what gifts or blessings the world lays at their feet because of the scale of happiness they are having. Some persons will be having a high scale of happiness, some other persons will be having a low scale of happiness. We sometimes feel that if we pay the debt, get married, or buy a new car, we would be happy. But even when we get what we desire, after a momentary rush of happiness, we soon reach into our normal level of happiness. So, buying cars, getting married, getting promotions, or repaying loans do not change our biochemistry. They can startle it for a very short time, but it is soon back to its set point. Harari analyzes the psychological and sociological finding that married people are happier on average than singles. According to him, it is not marriage that makes them happy, instead, their happiness results in their marriage. The sufficient presence of serotonin, oxytocin, and dopamine make a person happy and content. Such people are attractive spouses and have a greater chance of getting married. It's their happiness that results in their marriage, and even after their marriage, they remain the same. Whereas a person with a gloomy biochemistry has less chance of getting married, and even if he gets married, his gloominess remains the same, and thereby he has more chances of getting divorced. Harari doesn't completely negate the influence of psychological and sociological factors on determining our happiness level. The mood changing of human beings within the predetermined borders of the scale of happiness could be influenced by external psychological or sociological factors. But it is impossible to exceed the upper and lower emotional boundaries. So, the marriage or divorce can have an impact in the area between the upper and lower limits. Harari makes a very controversial remark in his essay that biological approach to human happiness makes history insignificant. Harari tells that most historical events have had no impact on human biochemistry. Historical events have never changed human happiness levels. The events like French Revolution, Renaissance, Reformation movements, wars, etc. have had no impacts on human biochemistry. All this could only change the external stimuli, causing the secretion of serotonin, which only caused a momentary change in the happiness level of human beings within the predetermined borders of the upper and lower limit of happiness. But none of these historical events have changed the upper and lower limits of human happiness. Harari compares a medieval French peasant with a modern Parisian banker who is living in a penthouse with all luxuries. He tells that a medieval French peasant living in a mud hut could have been much happier than a modern Parisian banker who enjoys all amenities of modernity. So, technology and modern facilities do not determine our mood. It is determined by nothing but serotonin. So, the impact of French Revolution on French people's biochemistry was actually very small. It means the revolution couldn't make French people happier. So, according to Harari, biological approach to happiness makes history and historical events insignificant. Harari makes further controversial remarks by saying that we should stop wasting our time on politics, social reforms, revolutions, and ideologies because nothing of these will change our happiness level. Instead, we have to focus more on manipulating our biochemistry by scientific methods. He uses Prozac as an example. It's a synthetic medicine used to treat depression. It increases the level of serotonin and lifts people out of depression. So, these kinds of medicines or drugs should be used to increase the happiness level of human beings instead of focusing on politics, social reforms, or revolutions or ideologies. Harari says lasting happiness comes only from serotonin or dopamine or oxytocin. The only way to make people experience a high level of happiness over an extended period of time is to manipulate their biochemistry. Harari then makes a scary opinion or a horrible opinion that there is nothing wrong in using a psychiatric drug to make people happy. So that even if the government is the worst and the most oppressive one, no citizens would make wars, revolutions, strikes, or demonstrations against the government. The drug would make them happy all the time. He mentions Aldous Huxley's dystopian novel Brave New World as an example for an ideal world in which the government provides a synthetic drug called Soma to the citizens. Each day, each person takes a dose which makes him happy the whole day. Harari says that happiness is not the surplus of pleasant moments over unpleasant moments. Instead, it consists in seeing our life as meaningful and worthwhile. That's why the hardship of bringing up a child becomes the reason of happiness for most of us because it makes our life meaningful. The task of bringing up a child actually involves lots of difficult tasks like changing nappies, washing dishes, and dealing with the temper tantrums of babies. But still, we find it a happy or pleasant thing because we find it meaningful, like we are nurturing a new life. Harari's findings do not favor modernity. According to him, medieval people who had strong religious beliefs might have been far more happier than modern secular people because they believed in God and they believed in the afterlife, so they could find meaning to their present life. The modern secular people have nothing to expect in the long run because they do not believe in God and they do not believe in the afterlife. Harari finds no meanings to human life as a whole. Any meaning we ascribe to our life is just a delusion. The meanings a scientist, a humanist, a nationalist, a soldier, or a religious man ascribe to his life is nothing but delusion. Harari concludes by saying that happiness is a synchronizing of one's personal delusions of meaning with the prevailing collective delusions.